Dungeons & Dragons is great. End of video right there. Like and subscribe, I am sponsored by Dairyly, etc. But there's an inevitable learning curve when it comes to the rules. If a room full of friends have already had a few beers and are unanimously expressing how cool D&D looks, then there are some simpler games you can try playing right there and then. Storytelling games are great, but in my experience new players always look forward to rolling dice more than picking a word out of a hat or describing a flower. Anyway, Big Motherfucking Crab Truckers is the perfect introductory game for new roleplayers. BMCT is a one-page RPG by Gregor Hutton and Miles Miles Lufran. All the rules fit in one page. Players take on the roles of giant crabs, or crab people, or some shit like that, tasked with trucking deliveries across the land. Aside from its no fucking way challenge and roll system, that's as complex as the game gets. Character generation lasts as long as it takes for players to think up what brand of crab foo and pickpocketing they want to be proficient in, and then it's straight onto the action, as soon as they draw their character, that is. Look at this. And this. Look at this. Make them draw. Trust me. But what action? Like any one-page RPG, the main concern of people who hear about it is, what would a game actually look like? Well, the rules mention traveling through the desert, so I set my games in a world where biosphere sea life cities are separated by vast chaotic deserts. It's just dumb enough to work. When I run a game, I get players to split into teams with at least one truck per driver, crab, and have the crab goddess appear to the characters to impart a mission, which is pretty much always a delivery. The first team to complete the delivery goes up in the estimation of the goddess, which is what crabs ultimately strive for. Having everyone collaborate on the goal also works, but the utter chaos of having players compete makes for excellent gaming moments. And it's a nice change to play an RPG where PvP is encouraged. It's super easy to prepare a game. Just choose something to deliver and someone to deliver it to, and don't overthink it. Something like, these crates of wine need to be taken to a fancy party, or this soup needs to be taken to the sick king of Sweden, who is also a crab. You might also need a list of things that players can encounter on the journey, like a jukebox filled with snails, or a knife factory, or like a hot tub, or like, I don't know, an eel parade, whatever. Any necessary details can be improvised, and the more ridiculous they are, the better. All of this works to prioritize role-playing and improvising, which is good practice for when you're running other serious games with more mechanics and crunch. It's quite easy to make a game last about 2 hours depending on your number of players. It's not an intensive experience, and I don't think it should be. The more details your players can bring to the world themselves, the less work it is for you as a GM. So ask them how they all know each other, what shops are on the street, what's the name of the city, and the game builds itself from there. If you're set on running a game, you'll find that there aren't a lot of resources for crab truckers, which is why I've made a subreddit for that very purpose, and I'll link to it in the description. It's such a weirdly arbitrary concept for a game. Let's make it even more amazing together. Okay, so that's crab truckers. Hey Sean, what would happen if all human feces became sentient on the day the Allies won the Second World War? Because I'm curious. And then it cuts to black. So I'm talking over black over this bit, and then and it just kind of ends.